Rise up, children. It's time to shake the devil out your soul. Rise up, children. Rise up, children. It's time to shake the devil out your soul. Shake the devil out your soul. Rise up, children. Rise up, children.
We are eternally thankful to the Creator for bringing all those who are present here today. The energy, very positive. We appreciate that. And basically what we've decided to do here, we used to do it more or less in the Garifuna tradition, as you know in many other African traditions, of remembering our ancestors. And what we have done is just in our situation, we have decided what we know our ancestors consume, what they like. We prepared something that we believe just in remembrance of them. So we just want you all to be aware of this. We are not about worshiping this or that or anything like that. It's just respecting the memory of our ancestors. That is what we have chosen to do. With that in mind, I now call on the High Priest to share with us his divine wisdom.
As I was sitting in the car, first and foremost, greetings. Within the spirit of the most supreme seen and unseen ancestral spirit presence of masculine and feminine energy. We give greetings, love, and respect to each other. We know that we come from a higher conscious culture of thought, reasoning, and action. We also know that we have been taken to the lowest pits, slave ships mentally, physically, and spiritually. We know that that is not where we belong. We know full well who we are, deep within our DNA. That naga movement within you, that serpent movement of our DNA cells as they wiggle through life and has formulated our existence, our most sacred ancestral being. And as we come as man, he, and she, within the presence of the most supreme seen and unseen ancestral spirit presence of masculine and feminine energy, we know full well that we are not of a monotheistic mindset. We know full well that we're not born from a male. We know full well that the supreme presence of our existence passes through the womb of the Mother Spirit. We know that the Mother Spirit is not, in and of her own being, the most supreme essence, because she needs the sacred seed of the masculine spirit. Therefore, it is time for us to use common sense reasoning to know that our ancestors spoke gallantly, magnificently, with the most supreme essence of supreme truth as they forwarded. We know that we have come into a cultural vibration where we have consumed whatever the slave masters, the colonial masters, and the other manipulators of the capitalistic nature has offered us. We have not broken those chains collectively. As I was sitting in the car, my dear brother Olatunji came over and he said, it's time for that particular part of what we do over these few years and working to recollect a greater presence of our existence. He said, normally we know that if it has anything to do with this or that, basically the Royal family can participate. And at that point in time, I explained, let them go ahead with what it is that needs to be done traditionally. We must honor our gracious tradition, but we must know that we have been given a tradition. We have been given a tradition by non-traditional beings of worshiping their tradition. Are we clear? We have been given a tradition of worshiping a culture that don't glorify life. Are we clear? Therefore, we have been given the conditioning of a death consuming culture. Our ancestors struggled and strived with all that they had to do what was necessary to put the kind of nourishment that they could possibly get inside of them to make sure that we're here at this particular point in time so that we can bring forward a greater truth, a more supreme truth, to reconnect us back to our higher conscious thought, reasoning, and action. So what has happened as I was sitting there and as I spoke from the mental being, I said, no, Brother Holy Twins, you all go ahead. We will wait. Because as all of you know, I'm sure, we hold dearly to the fact that life is for the living in divine order. And we hold dearly to the fact that we must consume of living energy if we truly honor, worship our ancestors. And that we must come to comprehend that our ancestors have been bent and broken and did all that they could to get us here at this particular point in time so that we would do something better, something different, something more holistic in order to resurrect our sacred ancestral being. And that they were trapped and entrapped in situations that did not allow them to move as we are able to move right now. But we would not be able to move 1 ounce, would not even exist, if not for those sacred ancestral ones. And so those sacred ancestral ones are who we must represent, because truthfully and in reality, we are nothing but an acceleration of our ancestors. We are a representation. We must begin to understand our culture. As children of the sun, we must begin to understand the circle of life. We must begin to understand the seen and unseen presence of our existence. We must move away from this consciousness of a death culture, where today we're here, we die, that's that. We go somewhere in oblivion, and the other person who come, I did mine, you better do yours the best way you can. We must reconnect with our sacred ancestral being, and we must, with all sincerity, we must realize that in order for us to resurrect our presence at every point in time in our existence, we must focus on the generation next. If we get that thought in action, then we are eternal. And this is what our ancestors had come to teach us. And we must comprehend that. We must be eternal. We must care for each other. We must care for those who was and those who will be. Then we are then becoming one of the sacred few. We're then becoming the generation next in our own presence, in our own existence upon our earth that has been given to us to live and to enjoy and to appreciate. And so those ancestors, for those precious ones who have gotten wise enough beyond our minds to get us here right now, the few of us who we are, who are more than what we think, to recognize that it is indeed time for us to take a greater step in our existence and not allow us to be stuck in what the ancestors actually did at the time, because they did what they could under the circumstances. They did what they could. Yes, they are not have Garifuna blood running in I. Know that for a fact. They are not have other blood running in I. Ashanti, a Kwapim, a Creole. Whatever it is, however way it was, that's where we are. But we must honor that. But at the same time, we must honor the wholeness, the universal order of our existence as man, he, and she, divine children of the sun, whose focus must be whole life resurrection. Are we clear? Are we clear? Are we clear? In our ancestral culture, we always ask from the thought, the brain, from the temple, the body, which houses the brain and listens to the brain and movement to that brain. And therefore, we must honor our sacred ancestral spirit presence. And when we do that, we make sure That we are clear. Mentally, are we clear? Physically, are we clear? Spiritually, are we clear? Now, if we have gotten clear, then we have indeed blessed our ancestral being as we were, as we will be, and as we stand right here making the pathway to the generation next. So in the spirit of the most supreme, seen and unseen ancestral spirit presence of all that we are, we gather in one mind, one body, one spirit, and give honor, humbly, and obedience to all the struggle, the strive, all the blood spill, the suffering, the hell and damnation, all of those things, all of the joy that was squeezed out of every moment that we could find to squeeze as we were and as we are now, and as we must transfer into our being within the circle of life. We give supreme thanks, praise, and appreciation, and we honor this blessed life, living presence that we have. And we honor each other for being part and parcel of that as we come in this collective chain in this particular day to give honor to all that we are as our ancestors, past, present, and future. In the name of the most supreme spirit of love, righteousness, and holistic living truth, the supreme presence of masculine and feminine energies, we say thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. And all right, we will be meeting down in a little while to continue the next phase of our journey. Thank you so much, High Priest, and to the royal family and to all those present. Continue to enjoy. Let us make this the best day of our lives.
Rise up, children. It's time to shake the devil out your soul. Rise up, children. Rise.